Get started. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much for joining our webinar. My name is Tory Manning. I'm an Industry Business Manager for J.A. King. Thanks so much for taking the time to spend with us this morning. Joining me is Kevin Hatch, who's our Director of Engineering, technical guru about lots of stuff, but especially about process control. So, in terms of why are we here today? Well, PLCs are really ubiquitous in the industrial manufacturing world. I mean, they're everywhere. However, a lot of what you can do can be controlled without a PLC. J.A. King has recently partnered with SYSTEC, a German engineering firm, which presents a standard range of indicators and programs that can control a lot of the processes that PLCs control, but without a PLC. So what are we going to talk about? Well, first, what is a PLC? When to use a PLC and when not to. I'll give you a little bit of background on SYSTEC. And we'll spend the bulk of our time on example applications, so bulk receiving, bag filling, et cetera. We'll also go over some project examples that J.A. King Engineering has created using these particular products. And then we'll leave some time at the end for questions. Colin, our technical expert, is also here. If you have any questions as we go through, please just type them into the chat function. He'll relay them to us, or you can wait till the end. So I guess, Kevin, we'll start with the big, easy stuff. What's a PLC?
PLC is a programmable logic controller. So it takes inputs, goes through some code, which is called the logic, to be able to perform some function and turn outputs on. So if you have this push button come on and another switch on, it turns on this output is a simple way to say it. But there's several different versions. As you can see some in the pictures there. Here's one as a rack-mounted controller, and then you have other I/O. Then you have smaller ones that are very small PLCs for basic input-output operations. They can't do as much code and it's not as complex. Each one has to have some type of display for human interaction with it, whether it's operator or data collection or whatever. So you're going to have a HMI connected to it that's programmed. Here's the Siemens one, same type of thing. Got a controller, you have different I/O, you have different communication modules. And so you find these in almost all manufacturing equipment, process control and all that. They're really freely programmable, and you can do a lot of things with them.
Typical brands?
Siemens, Allen Bradley, Amaron. I mean, there's 50 or so more manufacturers of them. There's quite a few.
Okay. Well, let's contrast this with what is a weight controller. I know most of my customers think that a weight controller is just the display that comes with a scale.
Correct, and this is a similar one that most people are used to. It's just a display. Most of the time the data goes into a PLC, or they just look at it to fill a tote or fill a bucket. Here's another basic indicator.
So they're self-contained, they've got a display. What I think is interesting is they actually use logic to control the process, and so therefore they could really be considered a PLC.
Yeah, the higher level ones like you see behind me, since microprocessors have got a lot more inexpensive, easy to manufacture, smaller, and they're faster, they've been able to take standard indicator and put more functionality into it. So it has the functionality of the PLC, but it's all self-contained in one unit and freely programmable.
So when you're talking about the differences between a PLC and a weight controller?
The major differences are PLCs are made for manufacturing lines, customization, where a weight indicator is specialized in that industry to be able to take the load cell inputs directly into it at very high resolution, where a PLC has to usually have a special module, and a lot of times that's not even manufactured by that same manufacturer, to bring that load cell in, and a lot of times it's not as accurate. And it's difficult sometimes to do some of the programming with some of those load cell modules, and so they can do it. I don't think they're as good at doing it.
And they can be difficult to calibrate as well.
Correct. Most scale technicians that do the calibrations, and a lot of them are for weights and measures purpose, where you have to have standards. It has to be calibrated by a certified technician to prove the weights and measures that what you're selling is exactly what they're getting as far as by weight. And so the technicians are very familiar with almost all the weight indicators out there. When you're using just a PLC and have a technician come in and do the calibration, sometimes there's a gray area there, And I've seen a lot of errors in the industry because they have to work with the automation technician or whatever on site to be able to do that calibration, and sometimes there's some disconnect.
But obviously PLCs are out there for a reason, so when do you think you should be using a PLC?
Most of the time PLCs, you want to use it in a bigger application. I would say over 20 I/O or more when it gets more complex, because it gives you more flexibility and more room down the road to grow.
Okay. And also when it's, obviously when there's no weight involved.
Correct. So, but we have used indicators before when there hasn't been weight involved, where we just needed a small controller with a display built in, and we programmed an indicator to do some simple basic stuff.
Cool. So let's flip that around. When should you use a weight controller?
If you really want accurate weighing and want to be able to control stuff with it, they work really nice for that, because that's what they're designed to. The engineers that built them, that's all they had in mind was weight, accurate weighing, calibration, control, and you can take a standard weight controller and send it to your Allen Bradley PLC or your Siemens PLC through their common communication protocols.
Cool. It also makes the service and ongoing maintenance easier. We talked about the fact that industrial PLC technicians may not necessarily know how to deal with weight, and obviously more traceability in terms of accreditation.
Correct.
I'm going to take a minute now just to tell you a little bit about SYSTEC. They are a new partner for J.A. King. J.A. King works with several other manufacturers of weight controllers, including Mettler-Toledo, Rice Lake, Avery Weightronics, and Minabea. But SYSTEC is new for us. And what's interesting about them is they only produce weight controllers. In fact, over 50% of their employees are actually engineers. They're based near Cologne, Germany. So what you get is you get German engineering, you get German design, you get German manufacturing, and therefore a really solid, robust German product. Now, having said that, that doesn't necessarily mean that there is no support. All of J.A. King's offices can support the SYSTEC line of indicators. And if our technicians need help, then we do have U.S.-based second-line support that can help them in real time. It's kind of hard to show you in a webinar, but these indicators are actually really, really robust.
Yeah, I mean, they're usually all stainless steel. They're NEMA 4X IP69 rated, most of them. As you can see, they're stainless steel. Most of the connectors are all stainless steel. And so they're built really tough, as with a lot of the other indicator manufacturers. They're designed to go outside. A lot of these are on truck scales, and snow, sleet, rain, and so they work really good.
Just because they're based in Germany doesn't mean you're going to wait forever for one. They actually have pretty short lead times, very comparable to what our U.S.-based vendors can give us. They can all be connected to printers, PCs, PLCs.
Right, they have the communication protocols to the, Ethernet IP, Profibus, Profinet, all the standard protocols to talk to Allen Bradley, Siemens PLCs, whatever it is.
So before we jump into some example applications, what I do want to mention is what we're not going to talk about today, and that's basic, simple weighing. So you're connecting an indicator to a floor scale, and really, one, it's simple. It doesn't involve any programming. So what we are going to talk about is some standard applications that come within the SYSTEC range of indicators. Because they're standard, there's very little programming involved, and therefore there's not very much programming cost. So it makes them far more cost effective. Having said that, obviously if they need to be configured or if we need to modify a standard program, J.A. King can do that to do pretty much any application. So we're going to start with bulk receiving. So this is one of the first of their standard programs, and this is for shipping and receiving bulk material. You can see the display there. You've got a nice, bright weight display. You can see the product that they're moving, who the client is. You've got a nice visual green flow diagram to see where you are in the process.
Yeah, and these programs are fully configurable based on what hardware you already have or what you're designing to build. And so, you can control screw feeders, slide gates, valves, multi-speed, conveyor systems. And so it's really configurable based on what hardware you exactly have without having to do any external programming.
Cool. Next, we're going to talk about gravimetric filling into drums or totes. Again, you've got the nice big bright display. You can see where you are. You can see that we're on drums 31 and our average weight has been 200 kgs.
Yeah, and these, this can be 1 or 2 scales, and again, these are fully customizable, either retrofit your existing stuff, or if you're building a new one, you can take that indicator with that base program and pretty much do what you want without having to make any modifications for it. And these basic programs are, anywhere from $500 to $1,000. That's it, Or, programming, you're talking days or weeks, which gets very expensive. So these basic programs work really well.
Gravimetric filling is bulk material, so this is for bags, bulk bags, intermediate bulk containers. It can be either semi-automatic or fully automatic. You can do single or multiple bags.
And again, these are fully configurable. And we've done some of these, and there's a lot of bag filling out there that has legacy, older equipment that's obsolete and everything. And these work real well to retrofit some of those older bag fillers, or maybe a new one, where you can put that controller right in there, just do some configuration, wire it up, and you're good to go. It also keeps track of statistical information, material used, the actual weight of each product.
And we're going to spend a little bit more time talking about batching. So this is the automatic and or manual batching of solids and liquids. It can auto-batch, the SYSTEC indicators can auto-batch up to 31 materials and then manually add up to 269. So really you're talking quite a lot of ingredients that you can have.
Yeah, this is, again, one of their standard programs that they've produced, and this one's pretty powerful. Again, there's a lot of materials you can set up for it. You set up each material, you set up operators, you set up the feeders, multi-speed feeders, and so it's pretty powerful, pretty configurable, and we've set up a little demo to sort of show you what this one will do. We got 4 feeders. They're all dual speed, feeding onto a single scale. And so we'll sort of run through that real quick and show you some of the basics of it. And so we're going to do manual mode here. Since I'm operating it through the keypad, you can also do automatic, either through controlling it through a PLC, through some simple commands, or through a PC, you can control this whole operation. And so we're going to go into manual mode, because I'm doing it with the keypad. Enter operator number, 1, what recipe I want, 1, and then ask me how many batches. You can do multiple batches. Let's say I wanted 10 batches of the same thing. It'll repeat that every time. We're just going to do 1 for right now. And then it asks, okay, start. But you can also look at the ingredients in this batch. And so we're going to dispense 1.2 pounds of the black gravel, then we're going to dispense 0.6 pounds of the pink, and then 0.9 pounds of the green, and then we're going to finish up with 0.3 pounds of the white gravel. So we'll get back out of that to the run screen. And so then through an external input, or I can hit enter. Tory, you can hit start over there on the panel. And so it's going to start off on high speed, and then once it gets close to its target, which is configurable, it'll go to slow speed so we can hit our target more closely. And there's pre-act settings in there that you can set based on when it goes from fast speed, when it goes to slow speed, and when it cuts off.
Now it's slowing down as it approaches the target weight.
And so you can also set this up that you'll learn where that target was hit. And next time you'll cut off sooner or cut off later, so it learns how the material flows, so it'll automatically hit that target more accurately each time. It's also keeping track of the amount of each material used. You can also set in there how much material you started with, and you'll keep track of how much material you have left. And all this data is recorded, and you can pull it off the indicator with a USB drive connected to your computer, or you can have it sent to your PLC system, or your PLC can query it, or your computer system. And so the total batch was 3 pounds, and we're 1/1000th of a pound off light. So it's pretty good. And that's just one small example of what you can do with just a basic indicator and the basic program. As you see there, it's pretty accurate.
So we also thought we'd like to show you some unique applications that J. King Engineering has designed. This particular one is a spot weld tester. Kevin, you want to talk about it?
Yeah, this isn't using a standard scale. What we're doing is taking a load cell and we customized and made a special pin, and we're actually breaking a spot weld and measuring the peak force it takes to break that. And as you can see that indicator there, there's no keypad on it. And that's because it's a touchscreen indicator, it has no keypad. It shows a graphical representation of the actual head coming down. It's pretty neat. And as you just saw there on that clip, we were actually breaking a tie strap, and it records that peak force. Now, this system is on the manufacturing floor for operators to use. So when they're done with their piece, every so often they take a test piece, they put in this machine, it breaks the clip, it instantly tells them red or green whether their welds are good, and all this data is recorded, sent to quality for later observation.
We'll show you another application. Oops, we're going to show you the spot weld tester again. And then we'll show you another application. This one happens to be a Cornell mattress tester, so it's doing mattress longevity testing.
Yeah, this system here is Windows-based. We wrote custom Windows code that controls most of the operations on there. But that RAM is hitting down into the mattress 100, 200,000 times, depending on which life cycle test. But there's load cells in that head. And we brought those load cells into the programmable indicator, and it's actually logging the pressure wave that it forces down into that mattress. And so it's capable of actually generating a force curve based on each stroke. And they use this data to determine the degradation of the mattress over time.
Didn't you tell me it takes like 8,000 readings a second or something like that?
This one's set up, it does about 500 or 600 samples a second.
Wow, quite a lot. One thing to mention is all of our indicators can feedback, whether it's on a web page or on a mobile phone, what your SPIT column is showing you now.
Yeah, we can create web pages, and so you can just go to your standard browser or whatever and type in the right address, and it'll pull up a web page, and you should be seeing now one of some tanks, and this is a job we actually did that shows 12 different tanks, and it shows the level in each one, and it's for an operator that has a remote operation, so he can monitor his tank levels remotely.
So that was pretty much all we wanted to cover today. Do you have any questions that you'd like to ask us?
All right. First question came in. Pricing, how much does the weight indicator cost compared to a PLC?
Most of the time, they're quite a bit less inexpensive due to the fact that it's already in an enclosure, it already has a display. So a lot of the time, they're probably a third of the cost. And on some applications, they can be almost a tenth of the cost of what a PLC is, especially as you don't have to do all that extensive programming.
Right, because that's just the hardware cost. The programming cost goes on top of that.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what are some examples of batching applications that J.A. King has done using weight controllers?
We've done thousands of batching applications with indicators over the years, and some of the bigger ones are concrete, mixing applications, sealant mixing, all the way down to flavor batching, where we're talking about milligrams of product.
And obviously also aquarium rocks as well.
Yes, we can do aquarium rocks.
So my entire client is using Allen Bradley PLCs. How can a weight controller from J.A. King integrate with them and other legacy systems that we have? All
of the weight controllers out there that are on the market, they've taken into consideration all these PLCs on the market. So there's Ethernet IP, there's DeviceNet, there's Profinet, there's all those communication protocols that you can get for these indicators to be able to talk to those PLCs. So it's seamless on the PLC end to be able to get that information or control one of these indicators.
So these weight numbers are kind of small. Can they be configured?
The displays can be configured just about any way you want. There's certain weights and measures regulations. So on this indicator that's behind me that you saw earlier, that is a weights and measures display. And so that's locked in. But if you're not under those constraints, what a lot of manufacturing companies are not, we can make that display say anything you want and be any size you would like it to be.
What do the installation and maintenance processes look like? Does J.A. King offer installation and ongoing support?
Yes, definitely. We've been around since 1939, and we've been doing, customized systems since the mid-50s. We still get calls all the time on service and support of some of those old systems. Earlier this week, I had a customer call us up, and they were restarting a line that's been shut down for 24 years. We put in 1976. We still have the schematics. We're setting them up and getting them running now.
Can the SYSTEC indicator be used in an intrinsically safe environment?
Some of them, yes. That's a whole other topic for another day when you get into hazardous classifications area. But feel free to give us a call, and we can work something out and go over that.
That's it.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
One more.
Oh, one more. Never mind.
What type of service agreements do you offer related to these systems?
All kinds of service agreements. We can come in and just do simple calibrations. We can come in and,
regular service where we show up on a prearranged time, on a prearranged day, or we can do anything more extensive that needs to be done, really. We can repair. We offer 24/7 call service. So if something goes down, if your process is shut, we can get somebody there right away.
Yeah, we also offer, coming in, taking a look into your operation, engineering a system for you, getting a full quote and concept sketch on, to get you a system that you need.
Is that it now, Connie?
I think that's it.
Excellent. Great. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to find out more information, you can go to our website, which is jaking.com, or you can give us a call at 800-327-7727. Thanks very much.
Thank you all.